Hi guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Bring Me Their Hearts by Sara Wolf. The full synopsis as well as links to the book is in the info, so you can find all of that information there. And I will also link to a little excerpt that I did where I shared a bit from the beginning of the book to give you a feel for the story and the style and the world and the characters and all of that. So all of that will be linked below. But briefly, the story is a fantasy about a girl who is literally heartless. She belongs to a witch, and the witch keeps her heart in a jar, and in order to escape that fate and that control, she is being commanded to bring the witch someone else's heart. That's pretty much all you need to know, I think, for a frame of reference for my thoughts, and I am going to get straight into them after I say, my god, ignore my hands. You can tell I've been gardening. I definitely should have recorded this video sooner because I feel like all of the specific things that I wanted to talk about have been lost in a general sense of like heart eyes emojis, because I have to say I loved this. I tore through it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not saying that it's not, you know, flawed or that it doesn't have things that I think could be improved on, because I almost never say that about a book, but I just ate it up. Some of the things that I think maybe will be talked about or that might be negatives for some people, it is cheesy. There is actually a line, I thought I saved it. Did I save it? But I put a tab in, but I guess I didn't. But there is a point where one of the characters says something about a book series being very cheesy and over the top or something like that, and the main character says something about all the best books are, and I feel like Sara Wolf really embraced that philosophy. So it is cheesy, it is over the top, but in the really enjoyable way, not so much in the eye-rolling way, or, I mean, that is going to depend on your sort of tolerance level for those things, but it feels more like wink and nudge, cheeky nods to silliness and over-the-topness than poor writing. You know, it feels intentional, and that can make a big difference in how you interpret something and how much it gets on your nerves. So there may be some where this crosses your cheesiness threshold, surpasses your tolerance level, and because of that you may not like it, but for me, who often has a pretty low cheesiness tolerance, I thought it was really fun, I thought it was playful, and that didn't bother me. Another thing that I feel like some people might say that I'm going to disagree with is that it takes a while to get to the point. Now, if you feel like the point is the thing that she was sent to do, the heart that she was sent to claim, yeah, it's going to take a while. It's going to tread that same ground quite a bit, you know, kind of work its way there in circles and in stages, and maybe that will be really frustrating for some people, which I get, but for me, that wasn't really the point of the book. You know, she has to kind of, first of all, you have to have that plot be foiled. It can't happen immediately, or it's just gonna, all the tension's gonna be lost. But I also feel like getting out of her sort of servitude to the witch and stealing the heart that she was sent to steal are really just vehicles for her growth and her sort of coming into her own, and for the romance, which, I mean, this is definitely romanceful. We all know by now that there tend to be books that I love that other people describe as slow, and I have seen that comment about this, and I think that's probably why. And as is typical of me, I'm just gonna disagree. I just disagree. I don't find it slow. I just think if you're only looking for certain things and expecting those things to progress very fast, then maybe you'll consider this not fast enough. I think that's maybe deceptive. Now, of course, everyone has their wants and opinions on what constitutes an engaging, fast-paced, readable book, so, you know, your mileage may vary, but for me, engaging throughout, loved it throughout. I felt like even when it was treading the same ground, it was progressing in the ways that I wanted to, and it was just enjoyable. I didn't care if a lot of it was building up to she's going to do the thing and then that getting derailed, and then it building up again and then derailed. That worked for me, and it was predictable but in an enjoyable way, and I've talked about that before recently too. Sometimes predictable is really bad, sometimes predictable is what you want. It adds to a feeling of familiarity and comfort, and sometimes it just doesn't feel necessary to be unpredictable, you know? Sometimes it just doesn't suit the story to be. So yeah, you kind of know what's going to happen, you know how things are going to go, but It's the getting there that is the enjoyable part of the story. So though people may say those things as kind of negative, some people might find it slow, some people might find it cheesy, whatever, I just don't, and I fully recommend it. It had snarky Buffy vibes that I think are going to win a lot of people over. I think the world felt real and full, and there was chemistry between the characters that I really liked. There was a nice thread of tension, both romantic and kind of situational fox in the hen house tension that I really liked. Kind of the right level of boldness, I think, for a YA, and building that anticipation. That's another thing that I've talked about recently with romances specifically. I feel like so many of them undercut any tension that is built by giving you too much right away, and this doesn't. It does build in stages and layers and gives you what you want out of getting to know characters who are getting to know each other. So just across the board, I really enjoyed that. I feel like towards the end it started snowballing a little too fast. I would have liked to not have the very, very end, the very tail end of it be quite as fast or quite as slightly chaotic, I guess. I could have dealt with a little more development there, or just a little better pacing, I think, towards the end. Doesn't quite seem natural, I guess, at the end, especially when she's finally going to do what she's been sent to do. She spends a lot of time in front of her target, like, building that up instead of just like attacking, and it doesn't seem realistic to me. That was the only kind of real flaw of it for me. I wish the end was a little tighter, but that said, I just loved it. I don't want to have to wait another year to get to the next book. It drew me in. It made me happy, even though I know there are people who are going to disagree with me. I think there are also people who are going to love this, and if you tend to agree with me about some of those books that other people seem to think are slow, and I inexplicably do not, if you tend to agree with me on those, I recommend it even harder at you, because for whatever reason, it's one of those things where like, I'm like, yes, I love this book, I'm in the book afterglow, and then I log onto Goodreads, and I'm like, what? Why? Every time. For whatever reason, I was seeing the comments that I always see on things that I end up loving, and I'm used to it now. Whatever. Whatever. You think it's slow. I'm gonna be over here enjoying the book that I enjoy. I don't know how people think this is slow. Redundant I could get, but not slow. That is what I thought of Bring Me Their Hearts by Sara Wolf. Thoroughly recommended. This one comes out June 5th, so it'll be out very soon. As I said, I did an excerpt of it, so if you want to get a feel for the style, that will be linked below, so you can get a feel for the main character and her general level of sass. But if you're looking for a good romanceful, slightly darker, definitely snarky, fantasy, romancy thing, get it. Pick it up. It's a good one. That is all for this video. If you've read the book, let me know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you disagree. If you found it slow, if you're one of those people, let us know why. But that's what I thought of it, so until next time, that was all for now. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, happy reading. Of her Kimba. Buddy, this is so unnecessary, buddy. Why don't you come up here? Why don't you come up here? Why you gotta steal the show all the time? Hmm? Come on. Whatever.